Finally, I don't have to see you anymore. You've been living here without paying, but now it's time for you to go. We've put up with your freeloading for too long. Okay, I get it. I'll go. Thanks for everything. I packed my things fast and left the house where I'd been living with my in-laws. I saw my mother-in-law smiling happily as I left. I chuckled to myself, putting on a sad face, but I knew what was coming for this house next. Hi, I'm Emily, 32 years old, and I work from home. I've been married to John for 5 years. We were happy together, but things changed in our 4th year of marriage. Suddenly, my father-in-law got sick, and we had to move in with my in-laws to take care of him. We thought it would only be temporary, but John's the only child, so we ended up staying longer to help out. I even thought about quitting my job to take care of him, but luckily, I could keep working from home. Living with my in-laws was chaotic at first, but then came some issues, especially with my mother-in-law. Emily, when are you going to start doing some housework? Get cleaning and cook dinner already. I'm not just lazing around, mother-in-law. What are you talking about? You're always on that computer, surfing the web. You must be goofing off instead of doing work. The idea that using a computer means wasting time is old-fashioned. I got special permission to work from home. I didn't want to waste the skills I've worked hard to get, so I balanced my job with taking care of the house and my father-in-law. It felt good when, after about 3 months of hard work, I managed to earn as much as before. I had to work extra hard because it was tough to manage on just John's income. I'm glad we'll finally have some extra money. I want to save up, I thought. But things got harder for some reason. It seemed like our savings were just going down. When I checked our spending, I realized John was spending a lot. And I found out my mother-in-law was spending a lot too. John has always liked to show off, often treating his coworkers to lunch. But lately, he's been using our credit card to throw big parties for them. Obviously, if you spend more than you earn, your savings will go down. As for my mother-in-law, she's picked up a bunch of expensive hobbies with her friends, spending money on classes and socializing without thinking twice. With both John and my mother-in-law piling chores and caregiving on me while spending recklessly, I reached my limit. I was covering all our expenses with my income and couldn't even think about saving money. It stressed me out, so I decided to talk to them. John, Mom, you've been spending a lot lately. We're going to run out of savings if we keep this up. Can you please cut back on spending? But they both pushed back strongly. You think I want my coworkers to see me as cheap? I have to treat them sometimes. It's okay to not always be the one treating, and they won't think you're cheap if you're not always throwing parties. I have to be considerate at work too, you know. It's one thing to treat your coworkers to lunch, but taking them to a bar on your tab? How does that have anything to do with work? You're just doing it for fun, right? And don't pretend you don't know. You come home drunk and brag about it. You're having way more fun than talking to your own mom. You see what I mean, right? Haha. I go to my classes too to have fun with my friends. Are you saying I should just stay home? You're not being a good wife. You, who only know how to do housework, have no right to tell me what to do. Why is she acting so superior when all she does is stay at home? I work too, you know. I earn money and help with the household. I'm also taking care of your dad, not just doing chores. Stop lying. My mom takes care of Dad, and since you're not even going to the office, you're not making much, are you? Who do you think you are, acting all superior just because you work part-time? I was stunned, speechless. It seemed like they didn't understand that I was really working, taking care of the house and my father-in-law, all while earning money. And my mother-in-law seemed to have told John that she was the one looking after my father-in-law, making me seem lazy. I thought about leaving many times, but I stayed for my father-in-law. He's always been kind to me since I married John, always saying, "Emily, I'm sorry you have to put up with so much." Father-in-law, I don't mind taking care of you. What are you talking about? I feel bad needing care, but I feel worse about how your son and wife are treating you. They're taking advantage of you, aren't they? Well, yes, we couldn't make ends meet with just John's income. It's all thanks to your hard work that we're getting by. Father-in-law, you knew. It turned out my father-in-law had known about our household situation all along. Whenever he needed care, he'd thank me and speak kindly to me. I loved him dearly, so taking care of him wasn't a burden at all. But I worried about what would happen to him if I left. So I decided to look after him diligently until he passed away, which happened about a year later. At his funeral, I cried the whole time, grieving deeply for him. But my mother-in-law, without shedding a tear, coldly asked me why I was crying so much. It was clear she wasn't grieving like I was. So I replied, "My father-in-law has passed away. Of course I'm sad. I've been taking care of him all this time." Upon hearing my reply, my mother-in-law exploded with anger, as if I didn't take care of my husband at all. But the truth was, she hardly took care of him. Instead, she took advantage of me, avoiding both housework and caregiving by claiming she was too busy with her hobbies. Yet she always managed to find time to go out. She played the victim, pretending to cry in front of relatives. From the outside, it looked like I was the bad daughter-in-law. People would say, "Stop being so hard on your mother-in-law." Some even took her side and blamed me. I was just grieving my father-in-law's death, but even strangers blamed me, which made me furious. I chose to distance myself from our relatives. Then, John noticed me and approached to complain. "So you embarrassed my mom in front of our relatives, huh?" "What? I don't understand. I was just crying and grieving your dad's death. Then, your mom came out to me, making snide comments. That's all. I heard you were talking like she did nothing for my dad." "I didn't say that. I was just saying how sad I was that your dad, who I had been taking care of, passed away. Maybe it sounded like I was blaming your mom because she didn't do anything. But in reality, are you looking down on my mom?" "No, I'm just telling the truth. And if you're so upset, you should have helped me out. Don't you think you could have taken better care of your own dad?" "Why are you blaming me too? I'm not involved in this. You're his son. Didn't you feel any responsibility to take care of him?" "I had work. It was your job as a housewife to take care of him." "That's not fair. I have work too, so that doesn't make sense." Our argument got heated, and panicked relatives intervened to break it up. Though the argument stopped, my husband and I didn't speak for the rest of the day. Later, after handling all the funeral arrangements, a lawyer talked about the inheritance. "I'd like to discuss the will regarding the inheritance after your father-in-law's passing. It states that the family home and land will be given to his son John, while the remaining assets will be split equally between his wife and daughter-in-law, Emily." "What? Why would Emily get a share? I'm his wife. Shouldn't everything else be mine if John gets the house and land?" "Your husband wanted to acknowledge Emily's dedication to his care. He wished to leave her a portion of the inheritance as a gesture of gratitude. This was his decision, and it cannot be changed." "Ah, I understand now. So Emily was just looking after him for the inheritance." "Why would you think that?" "It must be. Why else would she dedicate herself to caregiving?" "I've had a good relationship with my father-in-law ever since we got married. I took care of him to repay his kindness. If you think it's impossible, why did you push the caregiving onto me?" "Mother-in-law, why would you belittle me like that? Don't talk nonsense." "I understand now, so let's just leave it at that." When the lawyer was there, my mother-in-law couldn't say anything rude, so she kept talking, looking annoyed. "He made that decision. Well, I suppose it's a way of saying thank you for taking care of him. There's no other explanation." Then the lawyer kept talking. "Can I go on? Your father-in-law wrote a note saying Emily doesn't have to look after him anymore." When the lawyer said that, my mother-in-law's face, which had been angry before, suddenly changed to a happy smile. "I got it. I get what it means now." "Oh, what do you mean?" My husband looked confused by his mom's sudden excitement. "It means Emily doesn't have to stay here anymore. Since she won't have to take care of my husband, the money split wasn't a thank you, it was just like a goodbye payment." My mother-in-law twisted my father-in-law's will based on her own ideas. She misunderstood it the way my father-in-law, and I wanted her to misunderstand it. Actually, before my father-in-law passed away, we talked about this. He wanted me to be free from this house after he died. He planned to trick my husband and mother-in-law with the will, so I could leave without any fuss. Just as my father-in-law planned, my mother-in-law, totally fooled, is trying to get rid of me. While hiding my true feelings, I acted shocked by the will, saying, "Oh, father, why would you do such a thing? See, even my husband doesn't see you as his precious daughter-in-law. John, you don't need Emily anymore, right? Just divorce her already." "John, you wouldn't suggest divorce, would you?" I looked at John with tears in my eyes. After a long pause, he finally said, "Yeah, it seems like the best choice. I've got the family property and Mom got the money. I won't have to worry about taking care of anyone in the future, and I won't have any issues with Emily. What? I understand. That's how it is. I'm sorry, but could you please leave? Okay, I guess I don't belong here anymore. Feeling just as hurt, I took a paper from my drawer and handed it to my husband. It was something I had picked up during a past argument, the divorce papers. Without hesitation, he signed them. Finally, I don't have to deal with you, a freeloader who doesn't contribute. Leave. Consider yourself lucky I tolerated you for this long. I understand. I'll go now. Thank you for everything up until now. By the way, since the lawyer's here, I'd like to talk about. It's fine if there's no need for property division, right? I've already received enough from my father-in-law's inheritance. And you know what, Emily? I've managed to support myself just fine. It would be greedy of me to ask for more. Well, you have a point. Okay, that settles it. Please leave this house as soon as you can. I hurriedly packed my things and left the home where I had lived. My mother-in-law watched me go with a gleeful expression, unaware of what was to come in that house. After leaving my in-laws' house, I wasted no time in submitting the divorce papers to City Hall. When I arrived at the apartment I had rented ahead of time, I couldn't contain my excitement as I shouted in the spacious room. Yes, I'm finally free at last. I couldn't help but let out a yell of joy. I was so relieved to be liberated from the painful married life. I owe a huge debt of gratitude to my father-in-law, who orchestrated my escape from that house. Since then, I've been enjoying a comfortable life on my own. While I had gotten used to working remotely at my in-laws' place, now that I've left, I have much more time to focus on my work. As a result, my income has increased, and I'm able to live a luxurious life without any disturbances. One day, I received a call from my ex-husband. John, it's been a while. What made you call? Emily, please, we're struggling. Can you help us out? Is this a joke? Weren't you the ones who kicked me out? Even though we're earning the same, we're barely making ends meet. We can't keep living like this. Oh, that sounds rough. I decided to lay it out straight. Well, that's because my salary isn't supporting the household anymore. What do you mean? Can't you see? You couldn't sustain your lifestyle just with your income, even though you were spending lavishly, and I couldn't afford our lifestyle on my own. Nonsense. You've always been wasting your salary on yourself. The only reason we managed was because of the money I was bringing in. At your ages, your spending habits, both you and your mother, are just ridiculous. What? So how much were you making, Emily? Let me think. It was around $4,800 a month back then, I think. You were making that much. Yes, I was. But you never knew, did you? By the way, now that I'm not held back, I'm making even more. Haha. Even over the phone, I could sense my ex-husband's surprise. Emily, what do you say we give living together another shot? Huh? Kicking you out was a mistake. We can start over, can't we? What are you saying? You're just interested in my money. No, it's not about that. I've realized I still love you, Emily. Don't be ridiculous. I have no interest in going back to you. By the way, what about the inheritance your mother got? You should still have plenty left from that, right? Well, it's almost gone. There's no way she got around $100,000, right? You couldn't have spent it all so quickly. We went shopping and took trips overseas. Plus, we lost almost half of it in casinos. Both of you are beyond help. I'm speechless. I'm a stranger now. I can't do anything about it, and I don't want to. But don't say such cold things. Help us. I don't care. I'm hanging up. Don't call me again. After ending the call, I promptly canceled my ex-husband's phone contract. I had no clue what happened to him and my ex-mother-in-law after losing all communication means. However, nearly a year later, as I passed by their house, I noticed it had been demolished. They must have had to let go of it due to financial troubles. But honestly, it wasn't my concern anymore. As for me, I decided to fill my newfound free time with a new hobby and started attending a wine class I'd been interested in. There, I met a man 2 years older than me who showed a keen interest in me. After a year and a half of dating, we tied the knot. He's a down-to-earth and kind-hearted man, making waves at a prestigious company and earning a good salary. He respects my work, and we share a happy married life built on mutual respect. Lately, I've been pondering if this newfound happiness was a gift from my father-in-law,